Welcome to St. Wilfred's online classes. I am Dr. Seema Jacob from Department of Zoology, and today I will be delivering lecture on mouthparts of insects. Insects have known to inhabit our planet for a very long time. The Silurian period of Paleozoic era is known to be the age of invertebrates. This was some 400 million years ago. In the Carboniferous period of Paleozoic era, the first fossil of insect was obtained, and this resembled the modern day cockroach. This insect was called roachid, and this was some 300 million years ago. In the present times, we see a wide variety of insects around us, and some of the common insects that we find around us are cockroaches, grasshopper, honeybee, butterfly, mosquitoes, houseflies, etc. Now, when we observe these insects, we find that they have some common characteristic features. We will be discussing only the external common features that we find in these insects. Now, the common external features that we find in these insects are that their body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. The head bears pair of antennae. Eyes are of two types, a pair of compound eyes and simple eyes, which are called the ocelli. And they have mouth parts through which they feed on the food material. The next part is the thorax. It has got 3 pairs of legs and 1 or 2 pair of wings. The next part of the body is called abdomen, and it has got 9 to 11 segments. The other feature that is common in these insects are that their body is made up of exoskeletons. There is sexual dimorphism in male and female insects. Now, when we observe still closely these insects, we find that all of these insects, they inhabit different ecological niche and that they have different feeding habits. And because of the different feeding habits, their mouth part is modified accordingly. The primitive arrangement of the mouth part is that of biting and chewing type, and this type of mouth part is found in cockroaches, grasshoppers, and locusts. Now, because of the different feeding habits of these insects, like we have discussed the insects that we find around us, honeybee, it feeds on nectar. Butterfly, it also hovers around the flowers, feeding on nectar. Mosquitoes, the female mosquito suck the blood of other host. Housefly, they also absorb the solid food that we find around us. It may be fruits, it may be vegetables, it may be other decaying organic matter. So, depending upon the different types of feeding habits, all these insects, they have modification in their mouth parts. For example, modification in biting and chewing type, that is a primitive type of mouth part. We find chewing and lapping type of mouth part, that is found in honeybees. Then we find siphoning type of mouth part. It is found in butterflies. Then we find piercing and sucking type of mouth part. It is found in female mosquitoes. The next type of mouth part is called the sponging type, and this type of mouth part is found in the housefly. Now we will be discussing these type of mouth parts in detail. As we have discussed, there are 5 types of mouth parts that we have broadly classified as biting and chewing type, biting and lapping type, siphoning type, sucking and piercing type, and sponging type. Now, the biting and chewing type of the mouth part is the most primitive type of mouth part arrangement, and it has been found in cockroaches. For biting and chewing the food, there are 5 structures which enable the insect to capture the food as well as process it. These 5 structures are labrum, mandibles, maxilla, labium, and hypopharynx. Labrum is also known as the upper lip, and it is connected with the cranium or the head by a part which is known as clypeus. It is the upper lip, and it enables the insect to pull the food inside the mouth cavity. It has a secondary structure which is known as labrum epipharynx, and this is a membranous thin layer which is present at the inner surface. This is sensory in nature and is said to be the organ of taste. The second most important arrangement or the structure is called mandibles. These are the primary jaws, and its function is to bite and macerate the food. It has got serrated edges at the inner side. The distal teeth are sharp and pointed, and they are called the incisors, whereas the proximal teeth are blunt and they are called the molars. Incisors help in biting the food, whereas the molars help in macerating the food. They are chitinous and hard in nature. The third structure is called the maxilla, and maxilla is also known as pincers or secondary jaws or auxiliary jaws. Now, maxilla has got 2 important structures, cardo and stipes. Cardo articulates with the head portion, and stipe at the distal end possesses 2 lobes. The outer lobe is called the galea, and the inner lobe is called the lacina. Lacina has got teeth present at the inner surface. On the lateral side of stipes arises the maxillary palp, which are made up of 5 segments. The maxillary palp is said to be sensory in nature, and it enables the insect to detect the food, to sense its environment. Hence, it is known as a sense organ for touch, smell, and taste. The fourth structure of the mouth part is called the labium. It is also known as the inner lip, and it covers the mouth buccal cavity from below and behind. It has got 3 important structures known as submentum, mentum, and prementum. Prementum at the distal end has got 2 pairs of lobes. These lobes are called the glossa and the paraglossa. The outer lobe is paraglossa and the inner one is called the glossa. These 2 pair of the lobes constitutes ligula. Labium is also sensory in nature, and it has got a palp which is known as the labial palp. The 5th and very important structure of the mouth part of cockroach is called hypopharynx or tongue. It is via hypopharynx, the salivary gland secretes the saliva, which helps in digestion of the food. The next type of mouthpart, which is modification of the primitive type of mouthpart, is called chewing and lapping type of mouthpart. This type of mouthpart is found in honeybee. In lapping type, the labrum and mandibles are like that of biting and chewing type of mouthpart. Labrum covers the mouth from upper side. Mandible helps in crushing and shaping of wax. In mandible of honeybee, the inner edges are not serrated, they are blunt. So, the lapping type of tongue is formed by galea of maxilla, labial palp, glossa of labium. The whole structure is known as proboscis or lapping tongue. It is with the help of proboscis that the honeybee licks the nectar. At the tip of glossa, there is a spoon-like structure. This structure is known as labellum. The next type of mouthpart is known as the siphoning type, and this type of mouthpart is present in butterfly. In butterfly, there is a long coiled tube, and this tube is called proboscis. It functions like a straw, which enables the butterfly to draw in the nectar from the flowers. In this type of mouthpart, the mandibles are absent and the other mouthparts are reduced substantially. The long coiled tube, which is known as the proboscis, is formed by galea. The two galea of maxilla, they are zippered together by interlocking of hooks and spines. By pumping of hemolymph or blood into the proboscis, this coiled structure extends like a straw and is inserted inside the flowers. When the structure is not in use, it is coiled up under the head in form of a watch spring-like structure. The fourth type of mouthpart is piercing and sucking type, and it is found in female mosquitoes. In this type of mouthpart, the labium is elongated and it forms a sheath-like structure which encloses stylet. Stylet consists of labrum epipharynx, hypopharynx, two maxillae and two mandibles. Now these structures, they are strong and provide a thrust into the skin of the host. These are joined together, which enables the mosquito to suck in the blood from their host. In male mosquitoes, the mandible, maxilla, rather the stylet are absent. It is because the male mosquitoes, they feed on fruit juices or the nectar from the flower. In female mosquitoes, the hypopharynx releases the saliva into the host skin, and this saliva contains anticoagulant as well as anesthetic chemical. The anticoagulant does not allow the blood to coagulate inside the mosquito, and the anesthetic, it numbs the skin of the host so that when the mosquito is feeding on the blood, the host remains unaware. The other mouth parts or the advanced structures that are present in the mouth parts, they are all reduced. The reduction is merely to enable the mosquito to draw in the blood easily. The labium, it folds back or rolls back when the stylet is thrust inside the skin of the host. The next type of mouth part is called the sponging type. This type of mouth part is found in housefly. The housefly feeds on solid material, but when it sits on its food, it secretes saliva, and the saliva contains enzymes which liquefies the solid food. The mouth part again is modified. Here, the mouth part is in form of proboscis, which is of two parts. The basal part is called rostrum and the distal part is called haustellum. When we observe the proboscis laterally, we find that labrum covers the lower mouth part, that is the labium. The labium is an extended structure, and at the tip it contains two lobes. These lobes have small or fine capillary-like structure. These capillaries are called the pseudotrachea. There is a food canal present in between the two lobes. When the saliva is spit on the solid food, the food, due to enzymes present in the saliva, is liquefied and is absorbed and passed into the mouth cavity by the food canal. This happens due to capillary mechanism. The hypopharynx run down the proboscis. So, students, we can sum up what we have studied about the mouth parts of insect. We have studied that there are 5 types of mouth parts. The primitive type of mouth part is called the biting and chewing type, which is observed in cockroaches, grasshoppers and locusts. The modification in these structures led to other type of mouth parts which enables these insects to feed on the different food that is available around them. The second type of mouth part is called the chewing and lapping type. The next type of mouth part is called the siphoning type, sucking and piercing type, which is found in the mosquitoes, sponging type, which is found in the housefly. There are other modifications also, but these modifications are most widely observed in the insects. That's all, student, for today. Thank you so much.